Welcome to the Equity Team Podcast, where we provide Sedona, Arizona real estate insight to help you thrive during your next real estate transaction.
Welcome back to the Equity Team. I'm Chad McMahon, and today I'm going to do a very quick special episode. I'm going to do a short-term rental deal analysis on two properties that are kind of higher end, more expensive properties. Typically, we stay inside the fray a little bit more, which is the more common purchase price, about $800,000 to about $1.8 million in Sedona. But both of these are just above $3 million. They're both very interesting properties. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here, and I'm just going to dive in. So both of these happen to be, just coincidence, happen to be in Back Beyond area. So similar area here. One is Back Beyond Circle, one is Back Beyond Road. And again, both of these are very special properties. Now, at first glance, you might say, well, yeah, this top one, it's beautiful. You can tell already just by the default photo, it has these crazy views, which it does. It is a stunning property. It has incredible views. Both of these are great locations. Now, let me give you the quick highlights, and then I'll break these down. I'll give you actual numbers of, what I believe that these will generate in terms of gross annual revenue. If you were to run these full-time or nearly full-time as short-term rentals. Now, the first one here, priced at 3.333. It's a 4-bed, 3-bath, 3,600 square foot home on an acre. Now, I know this property very, very well. And again, stunning views. It's beautiful. It's an accomplishment of architecture. It is a stunning home, and it's multi-layer. It's very versatile, and it's just gorgeous how it just kind of comes right out of the rock here. Now, this one does not have a pool. So one of the first things I would highly recommend for this to be a successful short-term rental with a high ROI is you're going to want to add a pool to this one. It already does have a hot tub. It's just kind of your standard above ground, hot tub. But adding a pool, and there is room to do it down here, and the pool would have views, really, really gorgeous views. So this property, I can't really emphasize enough, the architectural consideration, the thoughtfulness it's impressive. And so it's not just the place looks nice. It's actually everything was intentional with the design of this home, where you look out the windows and the windows actually frame those rock formations. You can't totally tell from some of these photos, but literally, I mean, it's almost every single room. But these windows they frame these rock formations. And it's just a gorgeous home anyway. So this place doesn't really need work inside. I mean, I would swap out maybe for carpet, put in some luxury vinyl plank or wood flooring, or possibly a nice tile, high-end tile. But it doesn't need much at all. There are just a few rooms that have some of this carpet. Now, this room carpet makes sense because this is a music studio and it needs to absorb the sound. You don't want to have hard floor with that. So this is actually a good thing in here. And it actually has its own spiritual chapel. Really cool. It's something that you just don't see. So it has these extra things. Now, luxury properties, they get quirky, where you see some of these things that you think, well, does it really need to have that? Well, I mean, the nice thing about these luxury homes, they offer the extra quirks and the extra things that you don't see in other homes. And if you're going to spend a lot of money on a place, you want to have those things sometimes. So beautiful, beautiful property. Now, this one, just to give quick and dirty numbers, again, I would put in a pool. I would recommend that you set aside, and sometimes some of these pool companies, they will finance at least part of it for a while. But I would recommend you set aside $200,000 to $300,000, probably $200,000 to $250,000, $250,000 for a pool, a really nice pool. And you can't just put in a cheap pool. You got to put in a nice one. But the money will be worth it. The money spent will be worth it. So some hard flooring, doesn't need much else beyond that. So you're looking at, I would say, under $300,000 easily, under $300,000, potentially your furnishings, whatever you want to do with that. But in terms of your property improvements, and this one's going to be gross annual revenue should be in the ballpark of about $400,000 approximately per year. So that's what this one can accomplish. And of course, with my clients, I go into more detail on these things, and I'm happy to do so. So reach out if you want to talk about this one. Now, this next one's really interesting as well. It's a 4-bed, 6-bath home, and it's huge. So it's over 5,500 square feet. It has a guest house. It has 2 pools. Has a really beautiful yard. It doesn't have the views, but it's much larger, and it offers a lot more short-term rental amenities that guests are looking for. And so both of these are really interesting homes because they're so different. They're comparable, truly comparable in terms of their value, but they accomplish different things, and they would approach solving that short-term rental need differently. So this one, the 2 pools, one is an outdoor pool. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. One is a fully functional indoor therapy pool. Oh, and it has a game room as well. I mean, it's a big home. So it has a indoor therapy pool in here, and it has a handicap lift and things like that. And then it also has an outdoor pool, pretty nice kind of lush green space. And it gives you additional functionality with also having the guest house and all of that. There are a lot of options here. If you wanted to, you could always live in the guest house, rent out the rest, however you want to do it. And based on some Arizona law changes in 2022, now you can actually rent this out to 2 separate parties at the same time if you want to do that. So you can rent it out to 1 big party, 2 separate parties. You could long-term rent both of them separately. You could long-term rent to one, short-term rent to the other. And like I said, you could live in one, rent out the other. So it's really a beautiful thing. Now, based on, you can see this is kind of just a basic space, but that's what you get with a guest home. It's pretty normal, but really, really beautiful. All the greenery. It is a little scrunched in here, but it is a big property. It's 1.5 acres, and it's a lot of home and a lot of property. So it really is, it carries a big punch to it. So this property, based on the size, based on the beauty, based on all these amenities and features that it offers, sure, it doesn't have the views, but because it is a nice property, and it's a lot of nice property. It's a lot to upkeep as well, and you just need a plan for that. But this property is actually going to perform quite well. So this one is going to be more like a 400 to 450,000 gross annual revenue based on these key things. And with this one as well, this one needs more updating than the other one. So it's just a beautiful property. Obviously, a big selling point for this one is the beautiful outside. Now, aside from the things that I would do to this property, I would give it all a paint job so it feels like a luxury home. And I would update a lot of the interior and some more of the exterior as well. I'd probably, in some areas, I would add some gravel. I would definitely trim stuff back, really clean it up and cut it back. Doesn't need anything crazy, it just needs kind of your normal stuff. But this place, you can see that there are some special draws here, and it would be a real retreat property. You would get a lot of large groups, but you would get some smaller groups in here too that would pay a lot more in order to stay somewhere very special. And if this one was marketed correctly, that's why it would push up to more like that $450,000 gross annual revenue range. It's a lovely property. And even if for someone that's not going to use this as a short-term rental, it's a really special property right on the water, really great place to live, high-end, quiet neighborhood. And it's wonderful. So if you have any questions on these or other properties, or if you'd like me to run an analysis on a different property, reach out anytime. I'm happy to help. All right. Take care.
Thanks for tuning in to the Equity Team Podcast. To speak with one of our top agents, visit us at owninaz.com. That's owninaz.com. Or call us at 928-323-0031.